condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Nobody knows why liars lie. Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history. It's God's side and the other side.
Country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, who became it and look like Mr. Potato Head.
I didn't want to be a movie star.
No, you couldn't be a movie star. Ricky Smiley can't act, cause Ricky Smiley can't act. Why is he in a dress again? He didn't be wanting to Barbie, and you gotta tell him no. Sid ain't got no special, you remember? Eve ain't got no special, you remember? Ricky ain't got no special, you remember? Sir, I have 12 comedy specials. P. Diddy or whoever you is, TDJ, 20 of them. I won't stop burning you down until there ain't nothing left. Rubble on top of rubble, and I'll still be bombing. Look like a wall, Richard. Look like a wall. You didn't say no. Look like a wall, Richard. Look like a wall. You didn't say no.
All right. Hello. Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah-Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah-Shakur, and this is your Saturday morning or your Saturday vitamins. Okay, so that all been said, let's get ready to get back into it. Everybody hit that like button, okay? Also, don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. All right, so with that all being said, let's get into it. Now, before we start, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it, honey. Did y'all see Gayle King with her little lion self up there acting like they were floating all around in space? Did y'all see it? The shenanigans continue. Meanwhile, we have all this BS going on in the world, and this is what they find time to do. So let's get into it. And then we have Trump's lying arse. Okay. Trump has been again exposed for his lies. Okay. I mean, how do we know when he's lying? Because his lips are moving. All right. So anyway, honey, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And so where do I want to start? Okay, let's just go straight to Gayle King with a fake space expedition, no less. Ha! I'm going to share my screen so you all can see the BS. Hold on. Here we go. Straight shenanigans, people. Please pay attention.
Crew with celebrities including Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez, and Gayle King has been hilariously mocked after it returned to Earth following an 11-minute trip into the Earth's atmosphere. Katy Perry jumped out of the aircraft and kissed the ground in a painfully cringe moment that has been roasted online.
Katie!
Really, Katy Perry? Really? Okay, you guys, who do they think they are? Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, no less. But let's continue with the shenanigans.
This commentator said, "Cool story. She got to ride in a rocket with other women. Did any of them actually pilot it? No. Basically, this was a glorified carnival ride." The pop star then dug herself into a deeper hole of cringe with her post-flight interview.
It is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, trust, and this whole journey is not just about going to space. It's the training, it's the team, it's the whole thing. I couldn't recommend this experience more. This is like up there with all the different tools that I've learned in my life, from meditation to the Hoffman process. This is up there because what you're doing is you're like really finding the love for yourself, because you got to trust in yourself on this journey. And then you're feeling the love when you come down, for sure. And you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong divine feminine right now.
By the way, you're such a badass. I love that the month of April, you're like, I'm going to space and I'm launching my tour.
Commentator Megyn Kelly was in hysterics over the space flight, struggling to contain herself over the training aspect of the mission.
Ask my team to poll, like, what did they do during their 2 days? Okay, here they are. Their tasks, they spent the past 2 days at facilities for Blue Origin going over preparations, according to Blue Origin's Ariane Cornell. Their tasks included practicing how to get into and out of the New Shepard capsule. You go in, and then you go out. Oh, once again, ladies. Okay. The group also practiced how to put on and take off their seatbelts.
And it wasn't just Katy Perry who was mocked. The entire crew was ridiculed as footage of the women squealing from inside the capsule emerged.
Got it? 1, 2, 3. Take up space!
So lame.
Tamir's in space. It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, bye. Flynn, I gotcha.
This is the dumbest crap I ever saw. Like, they look like such idiots. And who do they think they're fooling? Okay, who do they think they're fooling? This is so embarrassing, honey. They look like the... This is a special kind of cringe, okay? As far as I'm concerned. Please pay attention, honey.
I got you, Flynn. Gotcha. Proud of you, Flynn. Oh, the moon. You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
They could also be heard screaming as the capsule came back down to Earth.
Parachutes deploy from the crew capsule. Those are like the guide parachutes. There go the drogue parachutes.
Just free falling right there until those drogues came out.
And then next will be the main parachutes that get pulled out.
Hear that screaming inside the capsule?
And all three air cushion that will kick up the dust. It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
While Bezos and his crew loved every second of the flight, many, including model and outspoken commentator Emily Ratajkowski, blasted the spectacle for its incredible waste.
At the space mission this morning, that's end time shit. Like, this is beyond impaired. Thing that you care about Mother Earth and it's about Mother Earth, and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet. Look at the state of the world and think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? For what was the marketing there? And then to try to make it like, I'm disgusted. Literally, I'm disgusted.
Others also slammed the vacuousness of the trip, reminding viewers that true astronauts should not be overlooked. This commentator said, not to burst anyone's bubble, but Sunita Williams set records on her 3 flights to the International Space Station and was stranded in space by the last administration. The cosplay women today that did something for 10 minutes was not impressive. This commentator agreed, saying, "Please stop calling them astronauts. This is so insulting to the brave men and women that train for spaceflight. They were space tourists. Lol, all this news coverage. Geez, publicity. Rocket going up and booster coming down. Yeah, cool. Other than that, no thank you."
Nothing but straight shenanigans, okay? This is all a load of BS. And did you all see Oprah? Oprah literally was sitting up there with fake crocodile tears. Okay, let me go to the footage. Mind you, it's going to be muted because this isn't my video, but I want you all to see the foolishness. Okay, I'm going to put an overlay on this. I'm just done. These people think we are just ridiculously foolish, but they're the fools, in fact, for even daring to think they could trick us. Look at this. Hold on, beloveds. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know why it didn't share. Hold on. Let me try that again. It's all BS. I'm going to let you all hear some of it. Hold on. But I'm going to play the music just so there's no copyright issues. Look, listen to the foolishness of it all. I don't know why they think we must be dumb as hell. But, you know, this is what they do. I mean, and acting like they were just so excited and tickled pink. Hilarious. Don't forget to hit the like button, beloveds. Turn this down some.
Was coming together for this moment for her.
Lift off. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
Oprah put her hand to her chest as she watched the rocket make its ascent. Now, I'm guessing the loved ones couldn't hear the audio of the broadcast that was happening for Blue Origin. I watched this live, and when this happened in the broadcast,
and
that screen and that white, what I thought was smoke or something, I thought, oh, I'm watching the implosion of the rocket, just like the 1984 Challenger. Oh. When the camera cut back to Oprah, her emotions weren't as calm.
Oprah watching her best friend go to space.
Without being able to see her eyes, her look at the camera almost came off comedic to me, like almost like Jim in The Office, like looking at the camera, being like, "Can you believe this?" or "WTF?" She took off her glasses. People could see, no, she's really crying.
When I saw the fire under the rocket, I got started spontaneously crying. Don't ask me why and for what reason. Well, I think it's the power of the rocket. And you realize all of that power and how thrilling it is, and that she's in there and how scared she was.
Obviously, she has a good handle on her emotions, but I don't think Oprah was crying because it was thrilling. No, I think everything is coming to a head at that point that this is very real. A lot of fear there, a lot of the unknown. Yeah, you can't help but be overcome with emotions in that moment.
Over here.
I just have to have a moment with the ground. Let me just appreciate the ground for just a second. Thank you, Jesus.
I saw her kiss that ground. I really kiss that ground and hold on to the dirt.
Oh my God. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I'm so proud. So proud of you.
I think she'll be changed forever.
Been more proud of anybody than I am of Gayle today, because it is the true definition of courage. Courage, you can't have courage without having some fear, some hesitation, some reluctance. This girl was terrified. She was terrified. I know how terrified she's been because I've been hearing it since October. And so the fact that she said yes, and today fulfilled that yes in such a big way, I just think it's cathartic. It's cathartic.
And I spoke to your best friend prior to you taking off, and I asked her why it was so important for you to do this. And she said, so she didn't have to hear you say, I wish I would have done that.
So true.
Oprah Instagram this shot and wrote, "My bestie Gayle King went to space." There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. And I gotta say, I'm very happy that Oprah didn't have to write the alternative caption to a photo of her and Gayle on Monday. Right? What are your thoughts?
Are you next?
I felt it so vicariously. No need to actually go up. When that rocket took off, I felt like I was in it.
All right. So now you all know that was all just a load of BS. Okay. I mean, what is the point of that even? Okay. Is this all so that Jeff Bezos can have people thinking that, they're really going to be paying for these trips to space? Because they may actually go to space at some point. And hopefully, if we're lucky, they'll get stuck up there. Just imagine a bunch of the elites traveling to space and never coming back. Wouldn't that be great? Okay, these people are so ridiculous. And then here's the thing. They even said that there was a picture with a fake hand. They said it was a fake hand, y'all. Okay, please pay attention. Hold on. I'm going to pull that up because I find it also interesting. Hold on. Let me go to this next clip first. Let me go to this next clip because everybody is clowning the hell out of them. I mean, they should feel like the biggest idiots right about now. Okay, nobody fell for this. Nobody fell for it at all. Okay, please pay attention. Honey.
Female spaceflight is back on solid ground. The internet has launched its own barrage of conspiracy claims. From doors opening in the wrong direction to the duration of the joyride being too short, some claims have gained thousands of likes and shares online. So we've brought in an expert to explain.
It said its bathroom doors.
Touching down in Texas, kicking up plumes of dust.
Congratulations and welcome back to Earth.
The all-female flight starring Katy Perry and TV personality Gayle King on board Bezos's six-seater Blue Origin could be described as a roaring success, lasting a total of 11 minutes. But it's this moment that's caught the attention of conspiracy theorists. The hatch opening from the inside, minutes before Bezos uses a tool to open it. Here's the audio.
She didn't really close it again.
The argument online is that a pressure-proof hatch shouldn't be able to open so easily from the inside.
Doors are also on spacecraft able to be opened both by the inside and the outside. This is a very common trait, and that is for safety reasons.
So, was the entire spaceflight staged, or
fake.
were they just waiting for the cameras? After all, the event had no shortage of theatrics.
While the door can open both ways for safety reasons, Bezos wanted to be opening the door for his fiancée. Yeah, it was staged. A lot of this all is for show. That's why a pop singer went into space.
But while we're debunking doubt, is 11 minutes really long enough to get you to the edge of space?
The boundary of space internationally is only 100 kilometers, so you can make it in your Toyota Corolla in an hour if you really needed.
So buckle up. Space tourism could soon become the next road trip. Paris Martin for 10 News First.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention because what this is, like I just said, is Jeff Bezos is basically promoting these space tours. Okay, that's what he's doing. And the gag of it all is they were not even in space and nobody's fooled by the shenanigans. Okay, they really need to sit down somewhere. Now, let me go to this video where they talk about this fake ass hand, honey, because I absolutely cannot. And the hand did look fake. Okay. These people are full of it. Do you hear me? Hold on. Let me pull this crap up. Hold on. Now, y'all tell me, because they tried to say conspiracies, right? Y'all let me know if y'all think it's a conspiracy, because I just find that it's hilarious. Okay, hold on here.
One, two, three, take up space! I gotcha. Oh, the moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing. Wow, look at the blue line. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. That's our moon. Got it? 1, 2, 3, take up space! That's our
So ridiculous. Hold on. Let me see if I can go to that darn fake hand. That's what I want y'all to see, honey. Because, I mean, what is even their point? Okay, here we go. Let me try this again. Okay, now look for this hand right here when I start this. Okay, hopefully it's going to zoom in. Look at it. Totally fake. Y'all see that? I'm through. Eagle-eyed media, social media users say that it appeared to be a fake hand, okay? Saying, where are the re-entry burn marks? And why does that look like a fake hand? Because it is a fake hand, a mannequin hand. That's what they said. Conspiracy theories really does show a mannequin aboard. However, the picture is that of the test flight of the capsule from 2007. Okay, so that's their explanation for the fake hand. Please make it all make sense, honey. It's all shenanigans. And the interesting thing is they're doing what they always do. When people call out the fraud of it all, then they want to say that we're conspiracy theorists. We're conspiracy theorists because we don't believe the BS, okay? Because we're not fools, because we're not idiots, all right? So now we're conspiracy theorists. Jeff Bezos, please sit down. All right, if you want to promote your space exploration tours, we're going to charge all these millions of dollars. Go right ahead. But don't get mad because we're not falling for the lies and the BS. Okay, anyway, I'm done with that. Now let's talk about Trump's lying ass. Okay, here's the thing. You know they don't want to go get that man from El Salvador. They're upset because the Democrats went over there. And so now they're coming out with a whole nother set of lies. And I want you all to pay attention. At the end of the day, the stuff that they're saying about this man, we need to take it with a grain of salt, because how do we know that any of it is in fact true? Okay, how do we know that any of what they're saying about this man is in fact true? Because Trump has proven time and time again that he's nothing more than a liar who lies. Okay, so let's go to the footage. He said the man's got a tattoo on his knuckles, and then he proceeded to hold up this picture. Now, here's what it said. President Donald Trump posted a statement from the Oval Office on Friday with what appeared to be a digitally altered image that Trump said was the hand of a Maryland father who was deported to a brutal El Salvador prison following officials' unproven claims that he was a member of the MS-13 gang. Notice they said unproven claims. They've not proven that. Okay, they're just saying that this is what they're claiming. Okay, and they want us to believe it without any facts or proof. Kilmer Abrego Garcia is the subject of a string of court orders up to the nation's top court demanding that the Trump administration facilitate his return to the United States, where he has been living for the last 14 years. The administration, however, has insisted without evidence that he is a gang member, even though officials initially admitted his deportation was an administrative error. See, I want you all to pay attention because they initially admitted that they effed up. Now we're supposed to forget that they ever admitted to the error. Now they come up with all these other lies and BS excuses and saying that he was supposed to be deported in the first place. Well, then why did y'all ever say that you made a mistake? Okay. Either you were lying then or you're lying now, but either way, you're liars. Now the president has displayed what he claims to be such evidence, a black and white close-up photo of a hand that Trump identified as Abrego Garcia's with tatted up knuckles, honey. Please pay attention, including MS-13 written out above 4 symbols that many internet sleuths have already said is photoshopped. Okay, because it is, clearly. Now, courts have not found that Abrego Garcia was a member of the gang. And as for beating his wife, Trump was apparently referring to a short-term pointed protective order filed by his wife, Jennifer Vasquez Sura, in 2021, which she dissolved the order a month later, saying that I was elected to take bad people out of the United States, among other things. I must be allowed to do my job, Trump says. Trump, you should take your own self out of the United States if you really want to get rid of bad people, because clearly you're not a good person, okay, and you're a convicted felon to boot. Now, government attorneys have never referenced the tattoos in court filings to support their claims that Abrego Garcia is a gang member, because see, here's the thing. When somebody is a criminal, whether they're here illegally and they get arrested or whatever, or they're gang members and they have any contact with law enforcement, what the police will always do is they take photos of any tattoos that they have. Okay, even if they don't know whether or not they're gang tattoos initially, they'll take photos of that. All right, to have that with the person's filing, their records or whatever. And so that's also how they tied them to gangs in many cases. Now, their allegation rests on the word of a confidential police informant who in 2019 claimed the Maryland father was a member of MS-13's Westerners clique, which operates out of New York, where Abrego Garcia has never even lived, okay? But that's the part they're not telling you in the media. Several social media users expressed doubt over the authenticity of the image of a hand that Trump held up in the post. Now, Linda Higgins, a former Minnesota state senator, wrote on X saying that, "Hey, old man, at real Donald Trump, have someone teach you about Photoshop. This is an excellent example of altering a photo. In this case, to make your illegal actions look good, but instead you look foolish." Now, MS-13 looks like it was typed on the photo. This is what one user remarked. Another comment is saying, pardon my cynicism, but you can see that looks clearly Photoshopped, right? Images of Abrego Garcia posted on his wife's TikTok account also capture the knuckle ink, but don't have MS-13 spelled out. Now, some social media sleuths, however, claim Abrego Garcia's wife has been trying to censor his tatting, pointing to her April 6th post. Red heart emojis cover his hand, which is draped around her in the photo. So the president issued his statement with a photo just hours after Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, okay, who traveled to El Salvador in the hopes of aiding in Abrego Garcia's release, gave a press conference explaining his meeting with the detained man and the strange events that followed, honey. Y'all got to wait till you hear what the president over there did. Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, okay, posted photos of the Paris meeting. That's what the president over there did. He posted photos of the Paris meeting at the senator's hotel that featured salt-rimmed glasses that he claimed were margaritas. Now, here's where the fun starts, okay? Because I want y'all to hear what Senator Chris Van Hollen had to say about it all, honey. Said it was all fake and staged. I mean, these people are something else, if you ask the Queen. They are actually something else. So let's get to it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Now I just want to take a moment. I hadn't planned to do this, but as I was landing on the airplane, I have a transcript of some questions President Trump was asked at the White House today about what I would call Margarita-Gate. I don't know if you guys have been following this. President Bukele, after I met with Kilmar, did this tweet showing us at a table with these two glasses. So here's what happened. When I first sat down with Kilmar, we just had glasses of water on the table. I think maybe some coffee. And as we were talking, one of the government people came over and deposited two other glasses on the table with ice, and I don't know if it was salt or sugar around the top, but they looked like margaritas. And if you look at the one they put in front of Kilmar, it actually had a little less liquid than the one in front of me, to try to make it look, I assume, like he drank out of it. Let me just be very clear. Neither of us touched the drinks that were in front of us. And if you want to play a little Sherlock Holmes, I'll tell you how you can know that. So if you look at the video or the picture I sent out from the beginning of our meeting, you'll see there are no glasses on the table. So you'll see in later videos, they are on the table. But they made a little mistake. For some people are very careful, right? If you sip out of one of those glasses, some of whatever it was, salt or sugar, would disappear. You would see a gap. There's no gap. Nobody drank any margaritas or sugar water or whatever it is. But this is a lesson into the lengths that President Bukele will do to deceive people about what's going on. And it's also shows the lengths that the Trump administration and the president will go to, because when he was asked about a reporter about this, he just went along for the ride. So the White House and the president have been lying about this case from the beginning. They've been trying to change the subject from the beginning. As I said, and the courts have said, from the Supreme Court to the Fourth Circuit to the District Court, what this is about is adhering to the Constitution, to the right of due process. And that's why we say, bring Kilmar home, so he can be afforded his rights under the Constitution.
Senator, did you know that you could be owed a major?
Okay, so you all heard that, right? Now that's just a darn shame at the end of the day. Sitting up there just flat out lying. Okay? I mean, Trump is just a liar who lies. Okay? Please pay attention. He is just a liar who lies, period. Now, because the truth of the matter is, the man doesn't have the tattooed on his hand, okay? Look at that. Here's the photo that Trump's holding up. You can clearly see the tattoos and see MS-13 across the knuckles. This is the man's hand right here as he's holding a child. And this is the man's same hand right here. There is no tattoo of MS-13 on there, supposedly. Okay, so they're saying that they're full of crap. He has tattoos on his arm. But Trump is just a liar who lies. They're trying to do everything that they can to make it, to justify the fact that they sent this man over there and refuse to bring him back. Okay? Because Trump has just said that he is not going to do it. Now let's go to this next report. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm going to share my screen.
Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen returns to the U.S. today after meeting with the mistakenly deported man who's become a lightning rod in the mass deportation debate. Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador in an attempt to push for his release after the Trump administration says an administrative error led to his deportation. 27 News Washington correspondent Basil John joins us live now with new reporting and reaction to the visit. Basil?
Well, Rebecca, Senator Van Hollen made it back to Dulles International Airport just this afternoon. Meanwhile, over at the White House, the president was criticizing the senator for his meeting and said Abrigo Garcia will never come back.
Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen returned from El Salvador after he met with Kilmer Abrigo Garcia, the man living in Maryland who the U.S. deported.
They're trying to make this case about Omar all about MS-13.
Van Hollen posted a photo to X of the meeting with Abrigo Garcia.
The judge in the case has said they've not provided substantial or any significant evidence to back up their claim.
President Donald Trump criticized the senator for the trip.
He's a fake.
And Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele poked fun at the meeting, saying Van Hollen and Abrigo Garcia were sipping margaritas and gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Abrigo Garcia's attorneys are fighting the White House in court to facilitate his return. The Supreme Court issued that order after the administration admitted an administrative error initially led to his deportation.
They want this man to be brought back into our country where he can be free. He's a Maryland father. No, this is a violent person.
West Virginia Republican Congressman Riley Moore, who visited the prison, echoed this criticism as Abrigo Garcia's future remains uncertain.
I think what Senator Van Hollen is doing is really just kind of like a media grab thing.
Now, more Democrats have said they will travel to El Salvador to advocate for the release of Abrigo Garcia.
Now, I want you to pay attention to how the Republicans say that this is a media grab. They're acting like this is basically a clout chase just to capture the headlines. Okay, they're such idiots because that's exactly what Trump is always doing. And that's why he's always telling all these stupid lies.
But it is still uncertain as to whether all of these trips and also Senator Van Hollen's meeting will result in a change of his status. Reporting live in Washington, I'm Basil John.
And Basil, has Abrigo Garcia's wife said anything after this meeting?
Yes, so after this meeting did take place, his wife, Jennifer, was updated on his status, and she has released a statement through the agency that's advocating for his return to the U.S., and it says, quote, "We still have so many questions, hopes, and fears." So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Okay, so now let me address this idiotic comment. Gospel Great said, y'all insane, this shouldn't be an issue. Well, you know, stupid people may think that this is not an issue. Idiotic people may think it's not an issue, but it absolutely is an issue. And I've already told you all why. Okay, because here's the thing. It's not about the fact that he's an immigrant. Okay, let's just be logical and stay out of our emotions and feelings. Let's think about the facts of this. Trump has already said, we heard the hot mic moment, as I told you all before, when Trump said that when he said that he was talking to the president of El Salvador, if you all remember, he was telling him behind closed doors that they should start sending the United States criminals to El Salvador. Now, anybody with sense, especially if you're a Black person, I would hope you would not be stupid enough to think that Trump was joking. He was dead serious because he said it again. Okay, he said it again. He came out and said that they want to send United States criminals to El Salvador. Now, that is absolutely illegal. That's against the Constitution. And as I told you all, that is akin to human trafficking. How can you take a person, deprive them of their rights just because they're a prisoner or they've committed a crime and they're a citizen of this country and ship them to another country? And I want you all to pay attention. Here's how you know that Trump isn't, playing about this, and he's very serious because he's been trying to make some sort of arrangement, allegedly, to where they can have prisons or some type of land deal with El Salvador so they can open prisons over there. Now, if they start sending United States criminals over there, who do you think they're going to look like, me or him? They're going to look like me. They want to send Black criminals over there? No, you don't. A gospel greats have to agree with everything I say. But if you can call us insane, then I can call you obtuse. Okay? Is that fair? You came in here calling us names, honey. We didn't start it with you. You came in here and said, y'all are insane. Now, you could disagree, but you don't have to be disrespectful and call names. So when you do, this is what you get. Okay? Now, as I was saying, and if you like for me to, I can gladly drop the link if you would like to get up here and tell us what you think. Because I'm sure that we would all love to hear it. So here's the point of the matter. As I was saying, the bottom line is this is a trial run. Trump is trying to see if he can defy the laws, okay, of the Constitution, because this is illegal. Okay, it goes against the Constitution. That's why we're in a constitutional crisis with this whole situation. Okay, so anybody that thinks it's okay for this man to be stripped away from his family and taken over there, okay, with no probable cause, they admitted that they made a mistake already. Okay, you don't get to say that you made a mistake, but then when you see that the heat's coming down, you want to now back up and say, wait a minute, this was no mistake. He was never supposed to be here. And then you start making up lies and showing photographs. If they can do it to him, Black people, they will do it to you next. Okay, so please pay attention. This isn't about whether he was a migrant or not. This is about the fact that the man was given the right to stay here legally, and he was snatched up against his will without any just cause and taken up out of here and dumped off in a prison, a terrorist prison, a violent, dangerous prison, okay, for no good reason, without any due process, without even knowing if or when he'll ever be able to get out of there, forced to do free labor. How the hell is that not human trafficking? Somebody tell me how it isn't. Somebody tell me how it isn't. Okay? Gospel Grace said, I wasn't speaking to TC Dan and the other person who was addressing me. Okay? And you wasn't speaking directly to me. Well, whenever you're speaking to somebody, that's why you all should likely tag the person whom you're speaking to. But at the end of the day, I still said what I said because this is the logic and reason, okay? And these are the facts. If they can do it to him, they'll do it to you next. DJ Big Six says, so his paperwork is not valid or what? His paperwork is valid. That's why he's been here for 14 years. His paperwork was authorized by the courts. If it were not, do you really think the Democrats will be taking trips over there? Yeah, his paperwork is valid, beloved. And that's why I said this is all illegal. And like I said, this is a trial run. If Trump gets away with this, they will do it to Black people next. They can just start emptying out the prisons here and taking those people over there. Okay, and then making the deal that I've heard that they're trying to make, and then have their own wealthy people, his billionaire friends, investing in more private prisons over there, and then making sure that they fill them up. Y'all need to pay attention, because at the end of the day, you have to sometimes look at the big picture, not just what's on the, what's close to you, not just what you see on the surface. This is deeper than what it looks like. Okay, and we have to be paying attention to that, honey. Otherwise, they'll just slide something up under us and snatch the rug out, and we won't even know what's going on at the end of the day. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Black Gossip said, you know how many Black American veterans who served in the military get assaulted by police officers every day for mistaken identity? Yes, of course I do. And not just Black veterans, Black men, period. Okay? Black men, period. But what does that have to do with this? I'm not seeing the correlation. Okay? Black Gossip said, some people never come back, unfortunately, from that type of trauma. Exactly. Now imagine if they start taking Black folks over there just because they committed crimes. Even if you commit crimes, even if you're a whole criminal, you still have a right to due process according to the Constitution. You still have a right to a trial by a jury of your peers. You still have a right to have your day in court, to have an attorney. These are all rights that we all are supposed to have in this country. And if they've told somebody they can come here and be here legally, who is Trump to say that, no, you don't get to be here, and then lie on this man and say he's a member of MS-13? They have no proof. Trump's one of those people who's, I'm Trump and I say so. I'm white and I say so. I'm the boss. Trump is running this country like John Gotti ran the mafia. And I've told you all that a myriad of times. And here's the thing. He absolutely is doing that, because guess what? Remember days ago when I told you all, you heard it here first, when I told you all that what Trump was doing is akin to human trafficking? It is. Because all human trafficking isn't about sex. I've told you before that some of these people that are trafficking, specifically men, it is for forced labor, for free labor, having them work in deplorable, unsafe, hazardous conditions for 12 to 18 hours a day with no proper food, with no type of protection or whatever, and not giving them any pay, and if so, very little, but not allowing them to leave of their own free will. That's what this is with Abrego Garcia. Okay, this is like 12 years a slave, like I told you all. But Trump thinks that he can do whatever because he's a man of lawlessness. If Congress wanted to, they could have the marshals march up into the damn White House, lock Trump's ass up, put him in handcuffs, and march him out. They could do it. Okay? They could do it. But Trump's getting away with a whole lot because he's got control of the House and the Senate. Okay? He's got a Republican-controlled House and Senate. So he's doing all of this stuff because he can. Because nobody wants to stand up to him. And then he's got that idiot Karen, Pam Bondi, that blonde bimbo who's sitting out here just, acting like his puppet and personal bootlicker. Okay? Talking about President Trump told us to give out the death penalty whenever possible. So just wanting to kill people. Next thing you know, they'll be lying to have people get the death penalty. Please pay attention. If they can infringe on this man's rights, deny this man his rights, they can do it to you. Okay? And I think it's time for me to really do that video that I've been telling you all about that I'm going to do on Rumble because I can't do it on here. I really need to post that picture so you all see how serious this is and how serious it could potentially be and how bad this could clearly go. Okay? Because that stuff that I can't talk about on here, that's what you all need to know about because they've hidden that. Okay, there are so many people that look like me that don't know anything about it, which would give them the right to come and start snatching you up. Okay, we'll talk about that. Like I said, I'm going to do a video about that for Rumble. I'll probably do it sometime today or tomorrow. Anyway, with that all being said, let's go to this last report about Mr. Garcia. And then we got to talk about the tariffs. Because it's not getting any better, and Trump's a whole idiot, and y'all know it.
Fighting a political firestorm. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen is now back in the U.S. after that surprise half-hour meeting at a hotel with Kilmore Abrego Garcia, the migrant the Trump administration initially said was mistakenly deported last month to a notorious prison in El Salvador.
This case is not just about one man. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States of America.
But El Salvador's president is mocking the meeting.
That's exactly what I told you all days ago. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody. Okay? Because you already know y'all will be next. Okay? That's just a fact. Period. If he gets away with it.
Meeting, writing sarcastically that Abrego Garcia has miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with a Democratic lawmaker. Van Hollen says those drinks were planted by Salvadorian government officials and that Abrego Garcia was moved out of the prison to another facility days ago.
He's experienced trauma. He said he's sad every day.
Despite a Supreme Court order to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S., it's an immigration fight the White House is relishing, stressing today that Abrego Garcia is not coming back. President Trump calling Van Hollen a grandstander.
He's a fake. That prisoner's record is unbelievably bad.
Even though he has no criminal convictions, the White House, citing local police reports, says Abrego Garcia was a member of the violent MS-13 gang, which his family denies. Today, the Department of Homeland Security released new details about a traffic stop involving Abrego Garcia in 2022. The report says he was pulled over for speeding while driving 8 people from Texas to Maryland for construction work. According to the report, the responding officer suspected it was human trafficking because there was no luggage in the vehicle. Police let him go with a warning for driving with an expired license. His wife says he sometimes transported groups of workers between job sites.
This man is according to certified statements that we get, is a very violent person.
Meanwhile, civil rights attorneys say the Trump administration is loading alleged gang members onto buses at this ICE facility in Texas, preparing to deport them under the Alien Enemies Act, which dates back to 1798.
We're discussing it. It's a tool in the toolbox. It's a useful tool.
Their deportation would be the first since the Supreme Court ruled earlier this month that the administration must provide notice to migrants it's trying to remove under the obscure wartime law and give them the chance to challenge their deportations in court.
I don't know about the group you're talking about, but if they're bad people, I would certainly authorize it.
We've also learned about a change at the IRS. Earlier this week, the Trump administration replaced the acting IRS commissioner at the height of tax season. Now the new acting commissioner is out. A source familiar with the discussions tells NBC News he'd been handpicked by Elon Musk. Lester?
Handpicked by Elon Musk. Do y'all hear that? Now, Richie Dupe says CIA controls the powder that flows through El Salvador. I would not be surprised. Okay, I would not be surprised at all. This is a darn shame. So Wavy though says lying on me with no convicted crimes is crazy work. Okay, just lying on the man, talking about his record, and the man doesn't have any record. Like, sit down somewhere. And then now think about how they tried to stage the whole thing to make it seem like it was all peaches and cream, basically. Okay. Big Mama said, damn, a thug is a thug regardless. Well, Trump's a thug if that's the case. Trump's a thug with 34 convicted felony convictions. And how do you know that man's a thug? You don't have any proof that man's a thug unless you just believe whatever Trump says. They just said the man had no criminal convictions. How the hell is he a thug? The picture of him having a gang tattoo is photoshopped. How's he a thug? Where's your proof? Anybody who just believes what Trump says with no evidence is an idiot, just like he is. Facts. Get mad all you want. That's the truth. Now, with that all being said, when they can show me some proof of the things they're alleging, that's when I'll believe it. Until then, it's all lies and BS. Okay, only an idiot believes Trump without facts and proof, and that's just what it is. Okay, so now let's talk about Christmas, honey, because for those of you who celebrate and purchase all these gifts and whatnot for children, your faces may be cracked because they're now saying that Christmas has been caught in the crosshairs as the toy industry faces brunt of China tariffs. Toy industry officials are warning U.S. consumers to expect higher prices and fewer choices this year, including for the holidays, because of Trump's tariffs. Are y'all mad yet? What do you all have to say? Because basically, these prices for these toys are going to be sky high is what they're saying. Okay, please pay attention. These prices for these toys are, in fact, going to be sky high, beloveds. And, you know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but y'all saw this coming because I already told you this back in January, how it was going to go down. Okay, so if you heeded the warnings of what I told you, then you should have known what to expect, is all I'm saying. Okay, so now let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Hold on. So here's what they say. President Donald Trump's tariffs are threatening to put a crimp in Christmas. The United States imports as much as 75% of the toy products that it sells from China. And according to the U.S. Commerce Department, making it one of the industries most reliant on the country's supply chain. Okay, so along with sports equipment and games, it is the fourth largest import category from that nation. And as a result, toy industry officials are warning U.S. consumers to expect higher prices with fewer choices this year, including for the holidays, as a result of Trump's tariffs, no less. They say Christmas is in danger. This is what Greg Ahern, president and CEO of the Toy Association, the industry's principal trade group, said. He said production in China continues to slow every time Trump ratchets up the tariffs on that country. And it's happening in an inopportune time. Traditionally, production starts to ramp up around this point of the year for goods to be ready for the fall and winter shopping season. Now, as Trump revealed China would face some of the highest tariffs in his country by country Liberation Day rollout of the levies, and then later said the duties on China would rise as high as 145%, shares in Hasbro and Mattel have tanked. Now, while both firms had earlier incorporated a 20% tariff impact from China into their financial projections for 2025, they have not yet publicly discussed the impact of a 145% levy. Now, it's one reason why the Toy Association is co-sponsoring this year's White House Easter egg roll, part of a push to keep toys which have traditionally avoided trade duties free from Trump's nefarious tariffs. Now, they say the administration maintains regular contact with business leaders, industry groups, and everyday Americans about our trade and economic policies. President Trump, however, has been clear. If you're worried about tariffs, the solution is simple. Make your products in America, he says. White House spokesman Kush Desai said this in a statement, that it's not so easy, but you can do it. Make your products in America. Now, of course, the toy industry officials, they say it's not that easy. Chinese toy manufacturing expertise has been honed through decades of experience, and the U.S. industry's supply chain has, in fact, become dependent on molds, dyes, labor, and safety techniques that are uniquely found there. And these people are not going to want to do that because, like I already told you, if they start making stuff here that's previously been made in China, the prices are going to clearly go up for the consumers because these manufacturers or these companies are not going to eat the cost because it's going to cost them more to have the toys produced if they're making them in the United States. So who do you think they're going to charge for that? Us. Okay. So he goes on to say this is skilled labor and there's no getting around that. And they're significantly less expensive and more experienced than it ever can be in the United States. Okay. And he's talking about China's supply chain for the toys. It would be virtually impossible to replicate the industry's efficiencies in the U.S. in a reasonable time frame. Jonathan Silva, co-owner of the Massachusetts-based WS Game Company, said he fears that he will have to lay off his 22 employees if the situation drags on. Now, his firm designs high-end versions of classic games, and 100% of their manufacturing occurs in China. And see, this is why Trump's a whole idiot. Does he not realize how important it is for us, for the United States, to be doing business with China? He says we're at a standstill, and he estimates they have about 4 months of product runway built up. But after that, it's up in the air. We're investigating every option we can, but right now our business is pretty much on hold. So even firms that don't rely on China say that Trump's tariffs are having a ripple effect. Now, Beat Queso, head of Bruder Toys America, which manufactures its products in Germany, says that in addition to having to reckon with 10% tariffs here, the entire industry will face higher costs due to worldwide shipping container shortages as production in China for all products slows down, saying that prices will go up tremendously. There will also be limited supply, and then you have to add tariff cost. So everything is just going to become more expensive, and consumers will definitely feel that. Well, of course they will. Okay, so y'all just, they're saying, hey, Christmas is on hold for right now. Okay? Christmas is on hold for right now. Now, Fresh Air says how to move cheap labor from China to Southeast Asia, Vietnam, without half a billion ninjas rioting. U.S. helping. Alberta says we're going to have to teach the kids to go outside, play dodgeball, hopscotch, tag, etc. When the going gets tough, we go harder. Exactly. And the sad thing is, children should already know this. Okay? Children should already know this because this is why we have all these unhealthy children and many of them overweight, because parents don't have their children going outside, playing in the fresh air, out in the sun, getting their helping their bodies to produce vitamin D. They just let them sit at home, play video games, be on the internet, on TikTok, and all the foolishness. Your children need to be out running, playing, enjoying life. Okay, not just becoming couch potatoes. All right, this is why we have a high obesity rate amongst children in the United States. So I absolutely agree that children should be outside anyway. Now, with that all being said, Ron the Truth says, hello, beautiful queen. Been MIA for a minute, but I'm back to hear your greatness. Thank you, beloved. Welcome back. Okay, so with that all being said, it's all a hot mess out here. And here's another thing that's going down because of the tariffs. Ford stopped shipping Michigan-built vehicles to China due to soaring tariffs. Okay. Now, Ford Motor Company has stopped shipping several expensive trucks and sports cars made in Michigan and Kentucky to China as tariffs have shot up as a result of the trade war between China and President Donald Trump. The move was confirmed April the 18th to the Detroit Free Press by two people familiar with the situation. Now, the people who asked to not be named because they are not authorized to share this information publicly. Okay, but they said vehicles Ford had stopped shipping to China this week are the Ford the F-150 Raptor pickups, Mustang sports cars, and Bronco SUVs built in Michigan, as well as Lincoln Navigators made in Kentucky. Now, Trump has set tariffs on China that now exceed 145%. In reaction, China has pushed tariffs on imported vehicles as high as 150%. Now, Ford sells the F-150 Raptor for close to $100,000 in China, so it would be paying a hefty tax to bring it across the border. This news was first reported by the Wall Street Journal, but Ford spokeswoman Jess Enoch declined to comment on the export changes. Now, in an email to the Free Press, Enoch did say that we have adjusted exports from the U.S. to China in light of the current tariffs. Enoch told the Free Press that Ford continues to ship the Lincoln Nautilus, which is made in China, to the United States. So the sources also said that Ford is still shipping an engine it makes in Lima, Ohio, to China, an A 3.0 liter engine used in vehicles made in China. The Dearborn-based automaker also continues to ship to China a 10-speed transmission made in Livonia. Now, Ford's exports in China, which started about a decade ago, compose a small but lucrative part of the business. Ford's China business made $900 million in earnings before interest and taxes last year, a figure that includes exported vehicles, according to John Lawler, Ford Motor Company's vice chair. This is what he reported earlier this week. Now, according to the Journal, Ford last year shipped about 5,500 Broncos, F-150s, Mustangs, and Navigators as well to China. That is below the annual average of more than 20,000 vehicle exports to China over the past decade. Okay, so Trump's putting a dent in everybody's pockets, according to these reports that are continuously coming out. Okay, please pay attention. And then here's the other foolishness. He wants Apple made in United States rather than China. Designed in U.S., made in China, while Apple is stuck. So every iPhone comes with a label which tells you it was designed in California, while the sleek rectangle that runs many of our lives is indeed designed in the United States. It is likely to have come to life thousands of miles away in China, the country hit hardest by U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs, now rising to 245% on some Chinese imports. Apple sells more than 220 million iPhones a year, and most estimates 9 in 10 are made in China. Okay, this is by most estimates. Now, from the glossy screens to the battery packs, it's here that many of the components in the Apple product are made, sourced as well, and assembled into iPhones, iPads, or MacBooks. Most are shipped to the U.S., Apple's largest market. Luckily for the firm, Trump suddenly exempted smartphones, computers, and some other electronic devices from his tariffs last week. But the comfort is short-lived because the president has since suggested that more tariffs are coming, saying nobody is getting off the hook. This is what he wrote on Truth Social as his administration investigated semiconductors and the whole electronic supply chain. Okay, the global supply chain that Apple has touted as a strength is now a vulnerability. The U.S. and China, the world's two biggest economies, are interdependent, and Trump's staggering tariffs have upended that relationship overnight, leading to an inevitable question: who is the more dependent of the two? Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it would be safe for me to assume, in my opinion, that China, okay, that China likely has the upper hand. Okay, that's what I would think. I would think that clearly China has the upper hand, that the U.S. is more dependent on China because China doesn't have to get their things made here. We do, okay, specifically for affordability reasons and because some of the things are produced only in China. We don't even have them here. So, and then not to mention, the U.S. already is in deficit to China, okay? Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, how a lifeline became a threat. China has hugely benefited from hosting assembly lines for one of the world's most valuable companies. It was a calling card to the West for quality manufacturing and has helped spur local innovation. Apple entered China in the 1990s to sell computers through third-party suppliers. Then around 1997, when it was on the verge of bankruptcy as it struggled to compete with rivals, Apple found a lifeline in China. A young Chinese economy was opening up to foreign companies to boost manufacturing and to create more jobs. It wasn't until 2001, though, that Apple officially arrived in China through a Shanghai-based trading company and then started making products in the country. Now, it partnered with Foxconn, a Taiwanese electronic manufacturer operating in China, to make iPods. Then it was the iMacs and subsequently iPhones. Now, as Beijing began trading with the world, encouraged by the US no less, Apple grew its footprint in what was becoming the world's factory. Back then, China was not primed to make the iPhone, but Apple chose its own crop of suppliers and helped them grow into manufacturing superstars. This is according to supply chain expert Li Zhuping. Now, he cites the example of Beijing Jingdiao, now a leading manufacturer of high-speed precision machinery, which is used to make advanced components efficiently. The company, which used to cut acrylic, was not considered a machine tool maker, but it eventually developed machinery to cut glass and became the star of Apple's mobile phone surface processing. This is what Mr. Lin says. Apple opened its first store in the country in Beijing in 2008. The year the city hosted the Olympics, and China's relationship with the West was at an all-time high. This soon snowballed into 50 stores, with customers queuing out the door. Now, as Apple's profit margins grew, so did its assembly lines in China, with Foxconn operating the world's largest iPhone factory in Xinjiang, which has since been termed iPhone City. For a fast-growing China, Apple became a symbol of advanced Western tech, simple yet original and slick. Today, most of Apple's prized iPhones are manufactured by Foxconn. The advanced chips that power them are made in Taiwan, but the world's largest chip manufacturer, TSMC, this is who makes them. Now, the manufacturing also requires rare earth elements, which are used in auto applications and cameras. Some 150 of Apple's top 187 suppliers in 2024 had factories in China. This is according to an analysis by Nikkei Asia. There's no supply chain in the world that's more critical to us than China. This is what Apple's CEO Tim Cook said in an interview just last year. Now, the tariff threat, is this fantasy or ambition? You see, in Trump's first term, Apple secured exemptions on the tariffs that he imposed on China. But this time, the Trump administration has made an example of Apple before it reversed tariffs on some electronics. It believes the threat of steep taxes will encourage businesses to make products in America instead, saying that the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to come to America. This is what Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said in an interview earlier this month. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt reiterated the same last week, saying that President Trump has made it clear America cannot rely on China to manufacture critical technologies such as semiconductors, chips, smartphones, and laptops. She added that at the direction of the president, these companies are hustling to onshore their manufacturing in the United States as soon as possible. But, many are skeptical of that because, like I said, this is problematic. These people don't want to have to shell out all this money. And quite frankly, they're not here for it. Okay? They're not here for it. Rashid said the Oompa Loompa men from Willy Wonka factory. Okay? Is that who they're going to have to hire? Right. TC Dan says California is the 5th largest economy on the planet in their own right. Also, California is suing the Trump administration. Honey, everybody needs to sue Trump. Period. Everybody. Edward says if China moves to Taiwan, no more chips for all your electronics. Trump's administration is just, ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Trump is ridiculous, but he wants to talk about DEI. Let's go to this report. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Wall Street opened in positive territory as investors still brace for the possibility of more volatility this week following those mixed messages from the White House on President Trump's tariff policies. New CBS polling finds Americans are breaking along party lines when it comes to confidence in the Trump administration's tariff policies. 91% of Republicans believe the president has a clear plan for tariffs and trade. 84% of Democrats say he does not. Meanwhile, President Trump's overall job approval rating has fallen to 47% over the past 2 months. His disapproval rating has risen to 53%. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady joins me now in studio. So, Kelly, that begs the question, where do things stand with these tariffs right now?
Okay, so let's kind of run through what we have on and what we don't have on. So remember those sector tariffs. We had a 25% tariff on sectors like aluminum and steel, also the auto industry, any automobiles that are coming from outside the US. So that is still in place.
Okay.
We also have a 25% tariff on all goods coming from Canada and Mexico that are not covered by that very important trade agreement between those three countries. Then it starts to get into sort of the moving parts. We have a 20% tariff on China that was originally back a couple of months ago because of fentanyl. On top of that, recently was added that 125% reciprocal tariff. And that's a number which, of course, has been a moving target as both sides are ratcheting up retaliatory actions. So the tariff right now on China is 145%.
Okay.
On all other countries, it's 10% while we wait for those reciprocal tariffs, while we're on pause, a 90-day pause. The thing that Olivia was mentioning, which is where there's so much confusion, is this technology exemption. And of course, a lot of our technology products come from China and would be subject to that 145% tariff. Over the weekend, we heard that there was an exemption. Then we heard, well, actually, it's just an exemption from the 125% reciprocal tariff, and it is still impacted by that 20% tariff. Lindsay, the viewers can't see it, but you're laughing right now, and I'm laughing along with you.
I'm not following. I don't understand.
I know. And that, I think, is really the crux of it, because you have so much back and forth, so much uncertainty. A lot of businesses right now, a lot of investors that I'm talking to are going, we felt like we had everything sort of figured out, but it just feels like it's a moving target, even going into this week.
So new CBS News polling found that President Trump's tariffs plan raising a lot of concerns about the impact on prices. What did the poll find?
So 75% of folks think that tariffs are going to increase prices in the short term, and 48% think that they will increase prices in the long term. And then you kind of zoom out. There was another piece from that polling that I thought was really interesting in terms of what people think about the economy over the next year. 28% of people in March thought we could be in a recession. That's gone up to 33% in this most recent polling. And part of that is driven by that impact on prices.
But why is that so significant for you? Consumer sentiment is something you day in and day out talk about.
Yes, because if consumers feel concerned about the state of their finances and the economy, they may pull back on spending. And then that sort of feeling could translate into the hard data.
Okay. Kelly O'Grady, thank you.
Okay. Now, with that all being said, Rashid says, look around in your living area. How many things were made in China and how many in America? Okay, very good question. All right, I'm sure that we all know that most were made in China. Okay, absolutely. And Trump is, destroying the economy. Okay, that's what he's doing. He is absolutely single-handedly destroying the economy. And we all know it. Okay, if we're just being honest with ourselves at the end of the day. Now, let's go to some updates. Let's go to some updates on the FSU shooting. Okay, there is a victim that has spoken out from her hospital bed. And so let's talk about this. And also, let's do a follow-up. Let's get into some updated information on the Casey Allison okay, trial, which is went into its 4th day on yesterday, I do believe. And I believe also Joe Ramirez, the victim's mother, had something to say. So we're going to go to that in just a moment. Let me share my screen so we can talk about the updates for the FSU shooting. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
Suspected gunman here. Tallahassee police identifying the shooting suspect as 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, a student at Florida State University and the stepson of a Leon County Sheriff's Office deputy. At a news conference, Tallahassee's police chief said Eichner declined to talk to law enforcement about the shooting, invoking his Fifth Amendment right. Friday, new reports came out detailing a custody fight reportedly between Eichner's biological mother and dad several years earlier. According to those court documents, when Eichner was 11, 9 years before the Florida State shooting, his biological mother reportedly took him to Norway, which was a violation of the custody agreement. According to that complaint, the mom allegedly said that she and Eichner were going to South Florida, but then fled to Norway, where she reportedly had dual citizenship. Eichner's dad sent texts and emails to the mother asking when she would return with their son, but reportedly would get vague replies. That's according to that complaint. A judge found there was probable cause that the mother had violated that custody agreement. In the complaint, Eichner's dad reportedly expressed concern that their son suffered from, quote, developmental delays and, quote, has special needs that would not be taken care of unless he was in the U.S. It also alleged that Eichner suffers from ADHD. Records show that a judge ordered the mom to return to the U.S. with Eichner and threatened to give the father sole custody. That case ended with a plea agreement. Again, that is according to records, which you can see right there on the right-hand side of your screen. Months later, Eichner's mother filed a slander lawsuit against Eichner's father and wife. That lawsuit dismissed. It does not appear that either family member has publicly commented on that 2015 investigation, the lawsuit, or the shooting itself. Tallahassee Police Chief Lawrence Rebel said Eichner used a handgun in the alleged shooting and that he also had a shotgun with him, though it was not clear if he had actually fired that weapon. Again, this investigation is ongoing. The police chief there saying he does not know of a possible motive just yet. In the meantime, I do want to get to some of the other big stories as we continue our coverage here of the shooting on the Florida State University campus that killed 2 people and wounded 6 others.
Is it just me, or does that guy sound like AI? Okay, doesn't his voice sound like AI? Anyway, TC Dan, thank you for that tidbit of information saying that there is breaking news that there has been an order by the Supreme Court to basically put a pause on deportations. Oh, I know Trump is so ticked off. Okay, so we'll go to that breaking news in just a moment. Okay, we'll go to that. TC Dan said his voice sounds robotic. I know, right? That's what I'm talking about. But hold on, let's go back and see. Listen for a couple of more minutes. Then we're going to go to some other news. Likes up. I want you all to see this victim that speaks, though. I want to hear what she has to say.
Including posts all over social media. I do want to talk a little bit more about the response overall. So let's bring in Gina Rofero, the president and CEO of Safer Watch. Now, that is a safety.
Hold on. Let me address Riri, because I see Riri keeps putting multiple comments in here, vouching for Trump. Riri says, I stand with Dr. Claude Anderson. I could care less about new strangers. Read Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Trump, Leave the Door Open. Well, I'm sure plenty of us have read Dr. Claude Anderson's book, and we know his works very well, okay? And we know what Dr. Claude Anderson has said about many things. The bottom line is, I don't know what you're talking about specifically, but the bottom line is Trump is destroying the economy single-handedly, and that's going to affect the consumers, okay? And you said that the prices always go up and never come down. That's a damn lie. Okay, if the prices never came down, gas would be $10 a gallon at this point, because the gas sometimes goes up to over $4 and then it comes back down. I mean, what are you even talking about? Eggs go up sky high and then they come back down, okay? So at the end of the day, and then you said DEI is not about us. Well, that's not the point either. We know that DEI, is mostly about women, okay, specifically Karens, okay, if you ask me. But the bottom line is Trump acts like people that are DEI hires are so dumb, as if they're so incompetent. That's the point. The point is he acts as if they're so dumb and they're so incompetent, but look at him. Look at his team. His entire cabinet is dumb and incompetent. None of them are DEI. So that's the point when we're talking about that. Rise Ruby says, what are you talking about? Pennies come down. About 2 pennies come down. No, that's not what I'm talking about, beloved. If you don't like the commentary, why are you here? I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you. I said what I said. It's more than 2 pennies that we can see a rise in eggs and other things, okay? So I'm not sure what you're talking about, okay? But you can disagree. I never have a problem with that. Okay, Rashid said Georgia Guidestone says it all. Well, sadly, they destroyed the Georgia Guidestones. Okay, and we all know why. Well, those of us who have common sense do. But anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand.
A technology company used across schools, police departments, and public spaces. Gino, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, first off, I do want to ask you, we're talking about Florida State University, located in the state capital of Florida, a very large campus there. What kind of issues, what kind of problems exist when you're talking about such a large campus?
Right. So obviously with large campuses like FSU, right, you have all different response protocols that are going to be in place.
Roz Riri says, truth hurts. Last time it was toilet paper, now eggs. I don't recall toilet paper going up to like a crazy price. I don't recall anyone even saying that. But eggs clearly have gone up, and the farmers even came out and spoke about why the eggs went up in cost. So that is a thing. Second of all, truth hurts. Who's hurt? Nobody cares what you say. You're entitled to your opinion, just like everybody else is. So nobody's hurt by your opinion or what you think. I'm just stating the facts, and you're stating from your emotional viewpoint. That's all. Riri says, you cannot see a hustle. Yes, I can see a hustle. That's the point. That's why I'm calling out Trump, because that's what Trump is doing. What he's doing is a whole grift. Trump is doing things that are going to directly benefit he and his billionaire friends. At least that's what he was hoping for, but it's backfired. Because him putting out all of this, raising these tariffs and getting into a whole tariff trade war or whatever is now affecting them, sadly, and they're upset. Okay, and they're upset. He didn't care about it affecting the regular everyday people. But now that other people are complaining, specifically these name brand companies who are upset now because China has told all the trade secrets, they're all upset. Okay? They're all very upset. Rise Ruby says, you do, not emotional. Love you, Dr. Claude Anderson, he wrote. I'm not sure why you keep bringing up Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm pretty sure we all know all about Dr. Claude Anderson, okay? And then when you say you do, what are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you emotional? Because it sounds like you're not using logic in your assessment of things. Okay, Lady Painter said, Queen, the black family just lost both their twins, and the white family lost both their twins, and the white family lost one of theirs. Isn't it ironic? What black family lost both of their twins? Star Child said Riri is just in her feelings about Trump being called out. I mean, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. You know, Raspberry says affirmative action. Dr. Claude Anderson write the policy. He writes the policy. What are you talking about? Or you said you mean he wrote the policy? Why are we talking about affirmative action? What does that have to do with this? I'm confused, Raspberry. What does affirmative action have to do with this FSU shooting, which is what I'm now talking about? What did it have to do, if anything, with what I was previously talking about, which was the tariffs? Okay, I'm not sure where you're going. Okay, you said he wrote the policy. Okay, but what does that have to do with anything? If you want to shout out Dr. Claude Anderson, let's just shout him out, everybody. Everybody shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. His book, Powernomics. If you haven't read it, please do. Is that good enough for you, Raspberry? Anything else, beloved? Okay, I'm just not sure. Did Dr. Claude Anderson tell you to come over here and promote him? Because I've done that before. Okay, so let's continue.
but sometimes it makes it difficult to pinpoint exactly where an incident's happening and exactly how to respond to that incident. And more importantly, how do we notify everyone on that campus, right? So it's a little bit easier to notify people in a single building or a individual school, but how do we notify everyone on a large campus? How do we interact with parents and teachers and staff all at the same time while these emergencies are taking place? And I think we kind of saw that. A little bit of a communication breakdown, right? During these major incidents that happen, people are always wondering what's going on. Parents are asking what's happening. And it's so important to have these communication tools to keep people updated in real time.
On that same note, did want to ask you, social media, communication in general, again, you discussed this, but how does all of that make it maybe a little more?
Let me pause for a moment. Alberta said, Queen, the twins that were going to Boston. Oh my goodness, girl. Thank you for reminding me, beloved. Do you know that didn't even cross my mind? Isn't it ironic though? Wow. And I'm glad you brought that up because I need to look into that and see if there's any updates on that story. Okay. They're not just going to sweep that under the rug. Thank you, beloved.
Difficult when you're talking about moments after the shooting happens. You have folks that are posting all over things like X or Twitter, depending what you call it, Facebook, Instagram, and only a percentage of that is accurate information.
Right. So during these situations, people are searching for information, right? We're all wondering what's happening. And it unfortunately boils down to a lot of unofficial information that's being spread quickly, which causes confusion. I think, as you could see, there was even thoughts that there was potentially a second shooter at different locations yesterday, causing even more confusion. So it's so important that we have, these systems in place to communicate directly with people as things are unfolding, and have law enforcement be the one to actually be communicating what's happening and take the appropriate actions.
It's important to note here, and it's been noted by the police chief when we've spoken with him, that law enforcement did arrive within, a matter of minutes. There were campus police that were there right as everything was unfolding. But is there anything that maybe needs to be done to help with response times, not there, but nationwide?
Sure. So law enforcement did an excellent job responding to this, right? Eliminated the threat in less than 5 minutes. And we've seen this law enforcement response improve over time, especially after the Parkland tragedy that happened right here in Florida. But at the end of the day, why does it take longer to eliminate a threat than it does to notify people of what's happening? Right. So it's just as important to obviously eliminate the threat as it is to notify everyone on a campus. The sooner people are notified, the sooner they can take cover, the sooner they can protect themselves, more lives are saved. Right. So if it takes 5 minutes for an entire shooting to take place, we need to notify people within a couple seconds and make sure everyone is able to take as much time as possible to do what they have to do.
Are you struggling in your calculus?
Okay, so now here's the thing. I'm going to go to the person that is in the hospital, the victim who's in the hospital, and hear what she has to say. This whole thing with this FSU thing, they asked Trump what he thought about it as based on, our rights to bear arms or whatever. And Trump basically said, of course, he's always supported the Second Amendment and he's going to continue to support that. And then he made the comment that guns kill people, people don't kill people, which is true. Like I've told you all before, at the end of the day, it is people who kill people. Even if these killers didn't have guns, they find a way to do it. I told you all how this man years ago, back in the 30s, put a bomb in a school. So these people that are just murderous and who want to go out here and commit acts of domestic terrorism, they will find a way to do it. Okay, I'm definitely not with taking away anybody's gun rights. Okay, because I know I need Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson for protection. I may need them at some point, but I carry them all the time. So please pay attention. Okay, so here we go. Listen to this.
Details about the suspect accused of carrying out a deadly mass shooting at Florida State University Thursday. Tallahassee police say there was no connection between 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner and the victims. He was shot by police and injured in the shooting and will have to spend a significant amount of time in the hospital. Officials say he will then be transferred to a detention center and face charges up to and including first-degree murder. 2 people were killed in Thursday's shooting on campus, which remained closed Friday. 5 were also injured and being treated at a local hospital. Earlier, officials there gave an update on their conditions.
We do feel that all will make a full recovery. 2 of them are possibly going home today, which we're extremely proud of.
CBS News reporter Katie Weiss is in Tallahassee with more. And Katie, I understand you just spoke with a victim in the hospital. What did they tell you?
Well, Lindsay, good evening. A glimmer of hope right now this evening after meeting with this remarkable, inspiring young woman who is in just wonderful spirits despite everything she has endured. She is an urban planning graduate student. Her name's Madison Askins. She's attended both undergrad and graduate school here at Florida State University. And she is now recovering in the hospital tonight at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare Hospital right here in Tallahassee, just a few minutes from the university's campus. And I want to tell you, her story is just chilling. She says she was first shot in the behind, and then her mind immediately kicked into survival mode. Take a listen.
When he got next to me, he reloaded. I heard the clip being changed. I'm familiar with guns in my household. Both my parents are retired Marines, so I've been on a shooting range before. So I believe I heard it. I believe I heard that clip being changed there, followed by him saying, "Keep running." Yeah, keep running. So I know he was hitting people who were moving. I know that if I had gotten up, he would have shot me again.
Now, she says that the tone in the shooter's voice when he was saying that was just more monotone, as if he wasn't shouting, he wasn't being more somber, he was just being neutral. She said that lack of empathy, that lack of emotion is what was most striking and chilling to her. She also wanted to mention, I asked her, I said, if you could speak directly to the person who did this to you, who put you in this hospital bed, what would you say? She says, I have nothing left to say to him. He's a bug to me. Those are her words. Now, she wants to thank both police, responders who came and helped out and really neutralized the shooter quickly, and also healthcare workers here at the hospital for their quick response. And we want to say she had 1 surgery yesterday. She needs 1 more before she can go home. Lindsay?
Grateful that she's okay. Katie Weiss, thank you. Anna Schechter joins us now. She's the CBS News senior coordinating producer for the Crime and Public Safety Unit. Anna, we're getting a more clear picture of a timeline leading up to the events. What can you tell us?
That's right. We now know from police that the suspect arrived at around 11 a.m. and went into the parking garage of the university in his own vehicle. And he spent about an hour getting in and out of the vehicle, appearing, according to the surveillance footage that police reviewed, to be sort of preparing. Then around 11:51, he entered onto the campus. And just a few minutes later, at 11:56 or 57, he started shooting. It only took a few minutes for police to apprehend him. Right at 12 noon, he was shot by police. And police said yesterday at the press conference that they gave him directions that he did not follow, and that is why they fired and injured him.
Yesterday, they had also said there's no indication that the suspected shooter had fired at police. Is that still the case?
That's still the case.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you learning about the victims who died?
Well, the 2 men that died both worked in some capacity at the university. One for a vendor that provided food services, and the other man also worked for a vendor on campus. He was 45 years old. We just learned of his identity, also a father. And then the other man, Roberto, was 57 years old, and he was a father of a daughter, a husband. His brother posted to social media. So we're getting a little bit more information about the picture. It's a range of victims. We learned from the university president that some of those injured who are in the hospital are students who have survived. Everyone in the hospital, doctors expect to make a full recovery. So that, of course, includes the suspect. You have 5 victims injured by gunshots, and then the 6th person in the hospital currently is the suspect, who is also wounded him by police gunfire.
So what more do we know about Phoenix Eichner? Any possible motive and what happens next in the investigation?
In terms of a motive, that's a challenge. Investigators are still gathering information from his digital footprint and also interviewing not just the eyewitnesses, but anyone who was in contact with him. That includes, of course, his stepmother and father, but also his birth mother. We've learned overnight that there was a contentious relationship between his birth mother and his father and stepmother. Lots of legal filings going back and forth between them over many years. They're also going to try to find anyone that he was talking to about potential plans at this time.
Okay, listen, you all, please do me a favor. You all, please do me a favor. Stop addressing Rise Riri. Rise Riri wants my attention, and now they have it. Rise Riri said, blaming Trump does make a difference. Next administration, it would be the same mess. Did you mean to say that it doesn't make a difference? Because that would make more sense. No change, and you don't see the pattern. Yes, I love Dr. Claude Anderson. Don't be jealous. Why would anyone be jealous? We love Dr. Claude Anderson too, idiot. Now here's the link. Click it. Okay, there's the link, Riri, because you clearly want us to pay attention to you, beloved. So I'm going to give you the attention you want. There's the link. Please do click it. Whatever you do, everyone else in the chat, please ignore what this person is saying. They're trying to be a distraction. They're clearly trolling. Now, Rise Riri, if you are in fact not trolling, please click the link so we can hug the truth like you just said. Okay? You see, the good news is the Queen doesn't ever get mad when people express their opinion. Okay, I don't get mad when people express their opinion if it's different or contrary to mine, because I don't care. Because no matter what anyone's opinion is, mine is the one that runs this channel. Okay, that's how that goes. So click the link and please show your face when you do, so we can see who this person is. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you're just a troll who wants to come and be disruptive and cause trouble. And you keep putting Dane Calloway's name in the chat saying Dane Calloway has the truth. Well, I agree with some of Dane Calloway's, much of his research. I love it. Okay, I love it. Okay, at the end of the day, click the link, Riri. Now Riri wants to spew insults. Love it when you show your true image. Fake headdress. You just talk like you do. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? A fake headdress? Here's the link, Riri. If you don't click the link, I'm going to block you from the channel, because that will prove that you're just a coward who has Twitter fingers, no less. And you don't want to get up here and tell us what you exactly mean. Are you going to click that link or not? I've dropped it more than once. Now, I'm not going to waste too much time on this. Okay, I'm not going to waste too much time on this, but I've dropped the link. Either click it or get blocked. That's how it goes over here. Because anybody that comes over here being disruptive, talking trash, because they literally, Rise Riri said something about I was hustling y'all for money. How am I hustling them for money again? Do I beg for donations? What am I doing to hustle? Do I sell them fake bogus things? What am I doing hustling here? Please make yourself, you got laughing emojis, but you won't dare to click the link. You really don't want to click that link. Yeah, I didn't think you did. You know why I didn't think you did? Because, see, y'all trolls want to come over here. Because y'all trolls want to come over here, you know, and get mad. Because y'all think the Queen is playing with y'all when I drop that link. But I'm not. I really want you to click it. Okay?
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
Okay, click the link, Riri. All right, either click the link. All right, I'm going to give you another second. I'm going to drop it one more again. Either click the link, or you're just a troll who's trolling and wants the clout chase off the Queen. Rashid said, Queen, don't fall for her BS. I'm not falling for anything. You think I don't know what I'm doing? Please. I want to hear this. Okay? I want to hear this. I'm not sincere. Well, click the link and see. Now you're just making excuses. Okay? If you're scared to click the link, just say so. Okay? Just say so, because that's what it looks like.
Funky dog head, bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking
Queen Ahmadiyyah-Shakur
reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the
Royals.
and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
And that's on box. Okay, so, I guess she's not. She, he, us, they, them, we, whomever. I guess they're not going to click the links, so. I really wanted to hear what you had to say, but it's obvious now that you're a troll. See, let me tell you all something. When somebody's making a valid point, that's one thing. But when they're just talking crazy and saying dumb stuff, yeah, they're trolling. And I just wanted them to get up here or not get up here so I could prove it. That's all that was. I don't fall for anybody's BS. I dropped the link for a reason. Okay, so now they're gone. They're out of here because clearly they were faking the funk. All right. They were faking the funk. They don't want to get up here and talk. They just want to try to distract us.
We have no information speaking to motive. All we have are a few statements that he made, for example, to a school newspaper in January, talking about the upcoming inauguration. But it's hard to tell. I read his quote very carefully, talking about Trump about to take office. And you couldn't really tell one way or the other. I couldn't glean exactly, if there was anything in that. And we actually reached out to multiple people who were classmates. What we've learned is he was quiet, reserved, but there are other reports that he would kind of stir things up and espouse conspiracy theories in class and upset some of his fellow students at FSU.
QueenAShakur, thank you.
All right, y'all heard it. Okay, y'all heard that. Now Malik says, don't play with the queen on Sabbath. Let peace be still. Exactly, beloved. Okay, exactly. I think I said your name wrong. Is that Malky? Right. So that I've been saying, you're absolutely right, beloved. Okay. She needs to sit down somewhere. Hey, I'm just trying to do my job and give y'all the news and information. Now I'm being called a hater who hates on Dr. Claude Anderson. Are you serious? It's hilarious. Didn't I literally just quote Dr. Claude Anderson days ago when I told you guys that Dr. Claude Anderson said that Obama was a joke for Black people? Like, girl, sit down somewhere. Where do these people come from? Have they not ever been watching the Queen? I find it all so interesting. Okay. Bonita Israel said, didn't you know that Trump signed executive order concerning segregation? What's wrong with your minds? Don't you know where you at? You are in Babylon and the great states, this states the Lord. Here's the thing, beloved. Absolutely. Now, I don't know if you're asking me that or if you're asking Rise Riri that, because on this channel, we absolutely know that Trump signed an executive order about segregation. I've discussed it. Anything significant, foolish, detrimental, insane, problematic that Trump has done since he's been in office, I've discussed it, okay? I discuss Trump's foolishness on a regular basis. And yes, we absolutely did discuss that. And, here's what I said about it. At the end of the day, we need to go to it. We need to start back with segregation. I would absolutely love it. Okay, you stay on that side of the street, we'll stay on this side, but that ain't going to happen. Okay, because they don't really want that smoke. They don't really want segregation. Okay, they'll say that, but in real life, they don't. Because check it out. Here's how it'll go. If we go back to segregation, which I am all for, I love being around my people more than anything in the world ever. But here's the thing. If we go back to segregation, what are they going to do? We have all the top athletes, okay? We have 75% of the NFL, probably even more of the NBA. What are we going to do if we go back to segregation? Do they not realize the sports teams will fall apart and all the real players will be on our side? Say what? Yeah. Okay, it looks like then Ice Cube's Big Three would definitely take off. It would be so boring. Can you imagine how nobody would watch sports ever if it weren't for Black people being in it? Picture it. Picture basketball with no Black people on the team. I'm sorry, who would watch? Picture it. The NFL, not one Black person on the field. I'm sorry, say what? Not even a Black coach to boot. This would be drastic, honey. They don't want smoke, okay? They want to sit there and talk trash. What they want to do is they want to sit there and talk shit. That's what Trump wants to do, and try to act like, oh, yeah, let's be segregated. Let's go back. Let's take them back to Jim Crow, Elon. We know what we're going to do. Yeah, you might think you know what you want to do, but I guarantee you. See, here's the thing. They always want to be up in our business. That's why you have these Karens randomly coming up to Black people saying, where are you going? What's your name? I need you to tell me and identify who you are. Yeah, they couldn't be all up in our business making bogus 911 calls, okay? At the end of the day, we wouldn't have to deal with them looking at us crazy when we're the only one of us who walks into an establishment where there's multiple of them. They wouldn't be able to stand it when we're having parties and having all kinds of events and they're not invited. Don't they get upset about it? Didn't they in fact get mad even though they've had 100 plus years of Jim Crow segregation? But didn't they get so mad when they found out that Black Lives Matter in 2014 was having a Black only dance and they couldn't come? They said it was racist. Don't you remember how I reported to you all that they got upset when they found out that there's a spa for Black women only in Costa Rica? They got upset, but I find it interesting because they have country clubs that are just for them. But see, yeah, it's like selective outrage. As long as they can tell us that we're not good enough, that we can't come in, that we got to stay on that side of the road, it's all good. But when we start telling them the same, now it's problematic. So I guarantee you, honey, what they don't really want is segregation, because they want to be in our business. They want to know what we're doing. They want to be able to copy everything that we do, steal our ideas and make a profit off of it, okay, at all times. All right. And then they want our swag, our style, and our rhythm and all of that. And they desperately want us to be on their sports teams. You see, we are, in fact, their entertainment. Our culture is what they love. So, yeah, they don't really want segregation. That's just what they want us to think. So we're supposed to beg them to let us in. We're supposed to beg them to let us play in their games, to be on their teams. No, I say let's do the opposite, okay? Because at the end of the day, we'd have more money if we spent it in our own communities anyway. We'd be more thriving, okay, instead of being disparaged, okay, and disproportionate if we kept our money amongst ourselves, if we supported Black-owned businesses, which I talked about last night. So y'all, please pay attention, okay? So, yeah, I hope that answered your question as to, did we know that Trump signed an executive order about segregation? Yes, we knew. We're up to date on everything that's going on in the world on this channel, you see. This channel is very much so involved in trending current topics, important topics, political topics, celebrity topics, criminal topics, you name it. Oh, and by the way, I also have a spiritual channel. Anyone else have questions? Now let's get back into this, because I want you all to pay attention to what TC Dan just told us moments ago. Breaking news, okay? They have ordered a pause on deportations. So let us get into it. I'm going to share my screen so we can really see what's all going down. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Deportation of immigrants under the Alien Enemies Act. The ruling stops any action in the case involving a group of Venezuelan immigrants in Texas. The migrants filed an emergency appeal at the High Court on Friday, claiming they were at risk of being removed from the country without sufficient notice to challenge their deportation. The Supreme Court issued the temporary pause without explaining their reasoning. This ruling comes as the White House continues to insist a Salvadorian immigrant who was living in Maryland is not coming back to the U.S. This is despite a U.S. Supreme Court order that the government must facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. The U.S. Justice Department says Abrigo Garcia was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. NBC's Melanie Sonona reports from Washington.
The Trump administration resolute that Kilmar Abrigo Garcia is not coming back to the United States, despite a Supreme Court order to facilitate his return from a notorious El Salvador prison. The White House posting this taunt on social media, directed at Senator Chris Van Hollen, who met with Abrigo Garcia Thursday night and posted this picture of the meeting.
It's also important that people understand this case is not just about one man. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States of America.
On Truth Social, President Trump said the senator, quote, looked like a fool, insisting Friday voters approve of his immigration actions, which are facing several challenges in court.
We're getting them out. And that's why I was elected. A judge wasn't elected to do that. I was elected to do that.
The White House claims Abrego Garcia was a member of the violent MS-13 gang, citing police reports. His family denies that. Abrego Garcia has no criminal.
Okay, I'm going to stop that because we've already seen the rest of that report. We already talked about that. So the main focus here is the fact that they've ordered a pause on deportation. Okay, so Trump, how do you love that? Are you mad? Are you butthurt? Are you upset? I just have several questions. Okay, with that all being said. Now, thank you, Nicole, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Says just showing support to the queen. You worked hard this week. You know you're doing something right when you've got haters. Keep doing your part and stay motivating. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your kind words. Okay, I really appreciate your kind words. And thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Yes, and it's funny, I don't know why anybody would be hating on the queen, because all I do is keep it a buck and tell the truth and report the news. Now, and I always welcome contrary opinions, because as I've told you all a myriad of times and continue to say, no one has to agree with my opinion. I welcome contrary views and opinions. That's how we learn from each other. That's how we exchange and gather information. So that's never an issue. Now, the problem is when you come in here being disrespectful, calling people names, talking out the side of your neck, then the queen is going to challenge you, and I will offer to drop that link. For one, I really want to know what you have to say. I really want to have a conversation, an open dialogue. I have no problem with that. At the end of the day, you can give me pushback. It doesn't matter, because I'm always ready, willing, and able, and always prepared to have a debate, an argument, a discussion, whatever you choose. It's up to you. Once you click the link, that's how it goes over here. It's all good, okay? At the end of the day. So I don't have a problem with any of it, all right? Because I'm that confident in myself, my intellect, and my points of view, and my research, and my knowledge. I'm comfortable in all of that. So I have no reason to shy away from having an open dialogue, period, okay? With that being said, thank you again, Nicole. And Andrea said, true indeed, queen, no lies detected at all. Thank you, beloved. Now, here's the thing. We're going to talk about Case and Allison in a second, because the fourth day of the trial and how it all went down. But let's talk a little bit more about Trump real quick with his nefarious self. The Supreme Court in the early hours of Saturday told the Trump administration not to take any action to deport Venezuelan men based in Texas it alleges are gang members. Okay, because they could be lying. Some of those people are probably not even gang members. That's the problem. Okay, please pay attention. Now, the court did not grant or deny an application filed by lawyers for the detainees, but effectively hit pause on the case, which affects people currently held within the jurisdiction of the Northern District of Texas. See, I know Trump is pissed off because you already know he hates being told what to do. He hates it. Okay, that's one thing he can't stand. Now, the government is directed not to remove any member of the putative class of detainees from the United States until further order of this court. That's what the brief order says. Two conservative justices, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, disagreed with the Supreme Court decision. Well, of course they did. Clarence Thomas is a whole bootlick. Never will he go against Trump. So at around the same time, the New Orleans-based 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected a request by the men who the administration alleges are gang members to halt any deportations under a wartime law called the Alien Enemies Act. Now, on Friday afternoon, at least one charter bus rolled up to the Bluebonnet Detention Center in Anson, Texas, a town with about 200 miles west of Dallas, where the men are currently being held. Administration officials are seeking to deport the men, who they say are members of the Tren de Aragua gang. There are major questions about whether the government has the authority, in fact, to apply the Alien Enemies Act to gang members outside of a war situation, and whether adjudications about gang membership are accurate. Now, the plaintiff asked only that the court preserve the status quo so that processed or proposed class members will not be sent to a notorious prison in El Salvador before the American judicial system can afford them due process. This is what their attorneys at the American Civil Liberties Union wrote in the Supreme Court filing. Now, in the court order, the justices said the government should file a response to the ACLU application at the Supreme Court as soon as possible. In a statement, Lee Gelrett, the lead ACLU attorney in the case, praised the Supreme Court's decision, saying that these men were in imminent danger of spending their lives in a horrific foreign prison without ever having had a chance to go to court. We are relieved that the Supreme Court has not permitted the administration to whisk them away and the way others were just whisked away last month. The Supreme Court action follows an April 7th decision in which the court made it clear that any people the government wants to deport under the Alien Enemies Act need to be given the chance to challenge the decision via habeas corpus petitions, okay, which is like basically saying that they're being wrongly held. Now, the case raises questions not just about Trump's aggressive and unprecedented use of presidential power in invoking the 18th century law, which has been used only when the country was at war, by the way, but also about whether his administration is complying with court orders. You see, in its earlier decision, the Supreme Court faulted a judge in Washington for the way he handled the case, but said plaintiffs could sue in the districts in which they are confined. The vote to overturn the lower court was 5-4, with liberal justices joined in part by conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Litigation continues in a separate case over the Trump administration's mistake and their deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to El Salvador. So, you know, like I said, Trump and his administration have clearly proven that they are just not that competent. They've made a myriad of mistakes, one of the worst, which was having that man wrongly deported to an El Salvadorian prison, refusing to bring him back without being ordered to do so, and even after being ordered, still not complying, being held in contempt, and then trying to lie on the man and minimize their own foolish culpability. But also the leaked group chat, giving up military secrets and information, putting the military at risk of having soldiers killed due to their own ignorance. And Trump says it's a witch hunt and that it's fake news, and acted as if it was something that we should just sweep under the rug. This is y'all's president. And anyone defending him or his foolishness is an idiot, period. I don't care who you are. Okay, and if you're mad, that's okay too, because I really don't care. The bottom line is, whether we like the Republicans or the Democrats, the fact of the matter is Trump is a whole idiot. Okay, and his team is clearly incompetent. And if you voted for that, then you're just not that smart. Now, that's my opinion. Okay? I'm not going to say you're not that smart, because I'm sure you already feel bad enough. But the bottom line is you made a bad choice. Okay? So just own it. Don't get mad at me because I'm pointing out the BS. Okay? I'm just here to state the facts as seen. So with that all being said, now, I want to get into this next report. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. And this is pertaining to, hold on, where did my receipt just go? This is pertaining to Kaysen. Okay, I want to do the, here it is right here, the 4th day of the trial for Kaysen Allison. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's see what's going on here. Because they want to talk about Carmelo Anthony, but they're trying to skip over this.
The brother of Joe Ramirez returned to the stand today in the murder trial against Kaysen Allison.
Allison is accused of stabbing and killing Joe Ramirez in a Belton High bathroom in 2022. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker has been in court all week. Sydney, what did you learn today?
Ramirez's brother returned to the stand today along with 2 others. Emotions ran high today, with one member in the gallery removed from the gallery after he yelled out at the defense, calling him ignorant, and was escorted out of the courtroom. Ramirez's brother, plus a medical examiner and a close friend of Kaysen, were on the stand today. Today, we learned Joe Ramirez had been previously arrested for assault when he was 18 and the victim was 17. He was brought to tears. Ramirez's brother was brought to tears when videos from that day were shown to him. The defense also asked if Ramirez was, quote, mad that Kaysen fought back, to which he replied, "I'm mad that he killed my brother." Next up was a medical examiner who oversaw Ramirez's autopsy. He shared that their examination found 4 separate stab wounds on Ramirez's body. The examiner said that the cause of death was stabbing, with homicide as the matter of death. We learned there was one large stab wound across Ramirez's chest, which caused multiple injuries to both the heart itself and the left lung, as well as 2 stab wounds on his buttocks and a wound on his upper back and left forearm. Last up for the day was a friend of Allison who shared that he had heard from others that Allison had brought a knife to school that day, but was unsure if Allison had told him this personally. That friend will be back next week to testify and probably talk about some evidence that was discussed today, consisting of 2 text message chains between Allison and the friend. Trial will not resume until Monday, April 21st. We'll be back for you then. Live in Belton, Sydney Walker, 6 News.
All right, we thank you for the update, Sydney.
How many times have you given up on yourself and on?
So there's the update on that. Again, condolences to Joe Ramirez's family. Now, last but not least, before I conclude this broadcast, let's go to this video of Jasmine Crockett and wide receiver Simone Sanders talking about fear, fraud, and Doge. This came out yesterday. Okay, please pay attention. I want to hear this.
Department of Government Efficiency continues its assault on the federal government, with Doge staffers visiting the headquarters of the National Labor Relations Board today. NBC News witnessed 3 young men in business attire, one of whom introduced himself as Justin, being greeted by the board's chairman and general counsel. This comes just one day after a whistleblower alleged in a statement that Doge caused a security breach at the NLRB and may have illegally removed sensitive data. The whistleblower is a cybersecurity specialist, and they made the allegations in a sworn declaration submitted to members of Congress and spoke about coming forward with my colleague, Rachel Maddow.
It's really to the point of where I feel like there's a culture of fear in the government right now that we're trying to combat. And by coming forward and standing up, even with this happening, I feel like fear and apathy are the death of democracy.
Joining me now is a member of the House Oversight Doge Subcommittee, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. I see you shaking your head. I mean, I thought it was very chilling. Like, he not only came forward as a whistleblower, he's on national television, understanding that a target has likely just been put on his back, but fear, and he talked about fear and apathy.
Y'all, look at the look on Little Miss Jasmine's face, Little Miss Crockett. Look at the look on Little Miss Crockett's face. You already know she's about to go in, honey. You already know she's about to go in. Jay Gray said, Queen, it's ironic that Make America Great hat Elon is wearing is made in China. Honey, it is ironic. I told y'all that the other day. That Trump's in here trying to go in so hard in the paint on China with these nefarious tariffs, but he even had his MAGA hats made there. Please pay attention. I told y'all, honey, Trump needs to sit down somewhere, and so does Elon's nefarious self. But they want to tell Apple that they need to have their stuff made here rather than China. Trump, you didn't even have those damn ugly hats made here, okay? Please have several seats, all right, in the White House. And let me tell y'all something. Here's another thing. This is how you know Trump is a whole fool. Do y'all know? Y'all probably know this by now, but y'all remember when Elon's little brat was up there in the White House and he put that booger on Trump's desk? Do y'all remember that? He put that booger on Trump's desk. Do y'all know that idiot Trump so ridiculous? He would have got a whole nother desk. Trump bought a whole nother desk for the White House is what I heard. Okay? Because the little boy put his booger on it. They said Trump removes the desk from the Oval Office, honey. I am so totally done. Listen, and the reason I'm so done is because here's the thing. Here is the thing. Y'all didn't know Trump did that? Y'all talking about say what? You mean y'all didn't know? Honey, let me just spill all the tea because I thought it was so hilarious. Honey, it's all in the reports. I'm not making it all up. Here it is right here. Trump replaces... I can't make this crap up. Let me show you guys the headline, honey. It's all nefarious. Please pay attention. Hold on. Let me stop the share with this for a second. We'll get back to Little Miss Crockett. And but in the meantime, let's go to this. Hold on, y'all. I am so serious about it. Look. Trump replaces resolute desk after Musk's son seemingly wiped booger on it. All about historic Oval Office furniture. Now, the reason this is so stupid, Terrion Lacey said, yes, we knew about Booger-Gate. TC Dan said he replaced the Resolute desk due to a booger. Let me tell you guys something. It's all so nefarious, okay? Gwendolyn said, no, Queen, he had the desk refinished. No, they said he replaced it. Don't you see the title? That's why I held it up here. I'm telling you what they're saying. They said he had the desk replaced. Now, here is the thing. Let's read this article. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the removal of an iconic 150-year Resolute desk. Now, here's why he's a whole fool. Because that desk had historic, what's the word I'm looking for? Sentimental value, okay? It was historic because here's the thing. So that desk was gifted to the United States by the French, okay? It was gifted by the French and it was beautifully hand carved. Now, how do I know how the desk looked? I've seen it close up. You see, I've seen it close up because I used to work in one of the presidential libraries, okay, as an education docent, and they actually have a replica of the Oval Office with everything in there. And that desk had all of these hand-carved, images on there. It was absolutely amazing. Okay, it had historic value. That's right, Deborah. So for him to just get a desk taken up out of him, Trump is an idiot. But let me continue, honey. So anyway, U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the removal of iconic 150-year-old Resolute desk from the Oval Office for refurbishment. Okay, just days after media reports suggested that Elon Musk's 4-year-old son, little X, may have wiped a booger on it during a White House visit. Okay, so he did have it refurbished. Okay, correction. All right, so according to the New York Post and New York Daily News, the incident happened when Musk, the Doge head, visited Trump with his son. During the visit, Musk's son was reportedly seen picking his son and wiping it. That's obviously a typo, picking his watch, his nose clearly, okay, and wiping on the Resolute desk after whispering something to Trump. Yeah, he told Trump, you're not the president, you need to leave. Okay, according to multiple media reports, Trump, known for his extreme germophobia, did not mention the incident in his social media post, but explained the desk swap by saying a president after the election gets a choice in one of 7 desks. So he did have it swapped. Okay, now this desk and the C&O, which is also very well known and was used by President George H.W. Bush and others, has been temporarily installed in the White House while the Resolute desk is being lightly refinished. A very important job. This is a beautiful but temporary replacement, he said. Elon Musk's son was part of the press briefing on a new executive order. Honey, at the end of the day, Trump is a damn fool. That is so hilarious to me, honey. Trump was like, hell no, you don't put your booger on there. Okay, Elon, if you don't get your little booger-ridden son up out of here real quick. TC Dan said either way, it was still stupid. Yes, of course it was. Okay, he could have gotten somebody to get like a towel with some bleach and some type of cleaning product and just wiped it down. Let me just do it the most, okay? But, they said Trump is a germaphobe, which I find interesting because Trump, to me, looks like a germ, okay? Please pay attention. Anyway, that all being said, let's go back to Little Miss Crockett and the linebacker or wide receiver. I would say linebacker more so. But let's get into it.
Congresswoman, just your take on the latest Doge assault that we are now seeing.
Yeah, what I really want people to understand is that this has been painted as Democrats are for, waste, fraud, and abuse, and it's because they are the swamp and that kind of stuff. And I got news for you. The only fraudsters that we see is the one that was actually convicted of fraud in a court, the one who also was found liable as it relates to his businesses for fraud. Him and his goons are the problem in this country right now. And it is so sad when you have a government worker worker who literally knows that he's going to have a target on his back, but he believes in something bigger than himself. He believes in the ideals of this country. He believes in democracy, and he knows what that means. He knows that it's more than waving a flag and saying that you're a patriot, but it's coming forward and doing the right thing. And right now, the only thing that I'm asking of Americans, no matter what party affiliation you normally associate with, is to decide that you're going to be on the side of right. And right now, everything about this administration is wrong.
I will note that Elon Musk has a history with the NLRB. It's an independent federal agency. And there were questions and complaints from his employees at SpaceX in 2022. So it all continues to seem to be connected.
I don't know.
Please.
Yeah, and I don't think that it was just questions or complaints. We know that he was under investigation. And when it came down to the inspector generals, the people that are supposed to make sure that they can be the watchdogs, the impartial watchdogs, this was definitely one of those watchdogs that he wanted to get rid of almost immediately. So we don't have the inspector general that would have been overseeing that investigation, nor any of the investigations around his trashy Teslas either.
You know, this is not just what Doge is doing is not a Beltway DC story, as I think some people on Fox News and some of my Republican friends would like to believe. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene was asked about this in one of her town halls just recently. I want you to take a listen. She read the question, though. She didn't take a live question. We'll see it.
Why is MTG supporting Musk and Doge and the slashing of Medicaid, Social Security offices, libraries, and more? This is outrageous, from Sarah. Well, Sarah, unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching.
Congresswoman.
This is coming from someone who clearly reads on a first grade level, so I don't know why she's trying to clown Sarah, who obviously is a constituent of hers. And what's really sad is this is the woman that oversees the subcommittee on Doge. And when you think about the things that we should be investigating, we've had to have hearings about whether or not we should get rid of Sesame Street. Instead of her calling for, say, a hearing over something like this, where there is a concern about the fact that we may have Russian infiltration. And I don't even know if it's infiltration at this point, because it seems like this administration wants to cozy up to Russia in all ways. And so for all I know, they just gave over the login information because it seems like they really haven't decided that Russia isn't our friend. Instead, they've done things like gone after Canada and Mexico. So it is unfortunate that we are talking about issues that have to do with our safety, that have to do with our privacy. And we have an administration that I honestly don't know if they're in cahoots or not.
Congresswoman, I have about 30 seconds left, but I'm sure you got to hear a bit of my conversation with David Hogg. The line right now that is developing within the party are people who are willing to fight and people who don't want to take some extreme tactics. What's your take on the situation?
Listen, one of the things that I was really happy about was when I looked to see how Q1 worked out for certain people. And what we saw is that I had a historic quarter along with AOC.
Yo, poor little Miss Crockett is sitting here having a time with those eyelashes, honey. Those eyelashes are trying to fight back right about now. Please pay attention, but I'm not going to talk too soon because those look like the same eyelashes that I had on about 4 years ago when I was sitting up here. And then my friend called me after the broadcast and said, girl, where did you get those eyelashes from? Said at one point while you were sitting up there, I thought you literally fell asleep. Little Miss Crockett, please take those things off and throw them in the trash like the Queen had to do, honey. We all make mistakes. Please pay attention. But let me continue.
Along with Bernie, along with Senator Chris, I'm blanking right now.
Chris Murphy.
But I wanted... Yes, Chris Murphy. And so what we've seen is that those that were willing to be out front, be vocal, and go head to head with this administration, we can see that the grassroots people, the people on the ground, we weren't getting a ton of money from big donors. I mean, on average, we had small donors that were pouring into us. So I will say that there is agreement that when it comes down to the base and what they're looking for is they're looking for people that will not roll over and act like it's business as usual.
Representative Jack.
Y'all, look at her eyelashes for real. Okay? It's obvious that her right one is windmilling right about now. Honey, this thing is fighting back. Honey, please pay attention. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, y'all heard it. Little Miss Crockett told y'all what she really thinks, okay? And the shenanigans continue at the end of the day. Okay, Trump's administration so far, let's talk about it. They're running the economy. They got China divulging, okay, decades-long trade secrets, all right? Exposing war strategies. I mean, shipping the wrong people out of the country, sending emails to immigration attorneys, telling them to get the hell out of the country. Okay, what now? What is really going on here? Okay, we are a country in a shambles, people. We should all be windmilling for our lives right about now. Okay, let's not go in on little Miss Crockett about her eyelashes. Okay, but let us realize that we must also be fighting like her lashes. Okay, for our very survival in the midst of this country that's falling apart at the seams. All right, this is all crazy. Terry Ann Lacey said, where them fans at? Easy said, I thought she was winking at me. Vince I am said, those are not eyelashes, but tarantula spiders, allegedly. Oh my goodness, y'all are so wrong. Oh my goodness. Y'all are dead ass wrong for this, okay? I know y'all probably talked about me that time when I wore them lashes years ago. Okay, thank God somebody told me to my face, okay? So I didn't embarrass myself any further. All right, and Simone is low down and dirty because she surely should have told little Miss Crockett before they went on air. Okay, Andrea said her eyelids are struggling with those lashes. I am totally done. Okay, Nicole said, I wore lashes one time and I had a meeting while it was windy and one flew off in front of my client. Girl, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, Nicole. Girl, I would have been so embarrassed, honey. I would have just probably fallen out and acted like I had passed out, honey. Okay, to play it off. Girl, not that your eyelash flew off in front of your client. I am so done. Anyway, Frank Nitty said big bird eyelashes. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let me get up out of here. TC Dan says what the administration is engaging in is kidnapping and human trafficking allegedly at the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Yes, I told you guys that. It's exactly what it all looks like, okay? It looks like kidnapping and human trafficking, okay? Taking people from one country to another, putting them in a place where they'll be forced to perform free labor against their will without any due process. And this is all illegal and against the Constitution. It is absolutely human trafficking. And here's the thing, as I also told you all weeks ago with this whole thing with China, that this is akin to blackmail and extortion. I literally told you all that. And then what comes out? Days later? China comes out and says that they will not be blackmailed or extorted by the Trump administration. I told y'all that's what it was. And they also said they wouldn't be bullied. Didn't I tell y'all Trump was being a whole bully? Didn't I tell y'all he's trying to run this country like he's John Gotti? Okay, like he's got the mafia behind him? He's an arrogant, pompous idiot. And at the end of the day, he needs to sit down somewhere, okay? Because he has a cabinet full of incompetent morons who are tearing apart the fiber of this nation, as far as I'm concerned, and who are, in fact, while they're doing all of these nefarious things, trying to act as though other people are incompetent, but when their own incompetence and inconsistencies and ignorant things that they mess up on are called out, they want to use words like witch hunt, like fake news, okay? Like, oh, they're just doing this for media coverage and all of that. But we heard him on that open mic, on that hot mic. We heard him plotting to send American criminals to another country, all right? But Trump, you're an American criminal. Beloved Ed, you have 34 felonious counts that you've been convicted of. Okay, so please sit down somewhere. And while you're talking about shipping out criminals from here to there, think about yourself first. And when you're talking about deporting people, think about your wife and her family. Okay, and your best friend, Eli. All right. Oops, I put the wrong comment up there. We need China, not the other way around, said Frank Nitty. Exactly. Okay, exactly. The verse said, yes, you have told us. Okay, so listen, I'm about to be out of here. Frank Nitty said, facts, queen propaganda. That's exactly what it is, honey, and that's all. So anyway, I love you all to life. Okay, Nicole said Trump's a career criminal. Exactly. That's exactly what he is. Okay. All right. Claudette said, what a mess. So anyway, listen, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives, okay? Because you're definitely going to need him at this point. All right? So anyway, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. And hey, I love y'all and hope you enjoy your strong end, not the weekend. And I will talk to you all again soon. Until next time, beloveds, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got